Hello once again, my friend. Guess what? I'm back and we are talking about repayment of debts. And I've just promised you that I will show you through a process that I used to pay back debts, and I'm using even now to pay back a debt that I have, which I borrowed from when I was going through school, and I needed to pay school fees. I didn't have the money, so I borrowed. And now I'm actually going through the process of paying debts, and I want to share with you. If you remember clearly, there's a time that I told you that the best time to tell a story is when you're going through it. It's when you're feeling the pain. And this is the best time for me to tell you this. Now, on debt repayments, how will you plan to repay the debts? Remember, I told you, you'll need three things to plan to repay the debt, commit to the plan, and keep the relationship. But I will give you a 10-step plan that I have used and I'm using even now in paying back my debts. What are the 10 steps? Step number 1, record all your pending debts. I mean, all of them, each one of them, each one of those unpaid cases, put them right down. Why do you need to write them down? So that you know, you're aware that I owe ABCD this amount of money. That's the step number 1. Step number 2, put down all ways that you have of earning an income. Yeah, you're wondering, what does she mean? I mean exactly that. Maybe you sell tomatoes. That's a way of earning an income. Maybe you wash clothes for people. That's another way. Maybe you do data entry. That's another way. So list them all ways that you can do to earn you a living, or to earn you an income, or to get you some money. Why? You need this money to pay the debt. Number three, is to note down areas in your business or in your life that are taking away the money. Your areas of expenses. Note your expenses. For example, subscription you've done on your TV. In Kenya, DSTV, GoTV, and all the other TVs that you could be having. You've subscribed maybe to a golf course. Maybe you've subscribed to whatever it is. Just note it down. Note down your expenses. You need to know where your money is going. Number 4. This is a painful one. Sort the list that you just created, your list of expenses, and start asking yourself one question. Is it necessary? So sort them out on necessity basis. I'd say maybe it's very much necessary for you to have a TV, which I doubt. I've been doing without TV for the last over 6 months, and I am alive. Hello, I'm alive. I have had to do away with my TV because I didn't think it was really helping me. It was not bringing food onto the table, and I didn't think sitting in front of a box watching some pictures of people running around was going to bring me any income. So I cut off that. So on my sorting, what I did is that I started arranging each and everything that I had put on expenses. I just turned my list inside out, upside down, until I could get the list of necessities. Where am I spending necessarily? I needed to buy food. That's a good thing. I didn't need TV. I got it off. Instead of TV, I brought in internet because I need the internet more than I need the TV. So that's my number 4. Sort it out. Number 5, knock off items in your sorted list that you don't need. Yeah, I know. I told you to sort. Now I need you to knock off some guys. So as I said, I knocked off my TV and I brought in internet. I knocked off eating a pizza every Tuesday, and today is Tuesday. I should have gone out for a pizza, but I'm not going to go out for pizza. So what I did is to knock off that part. And up to today, I hardly go out for a pizza. Actually, I don't remember the last time I had a pizza. So what do I do in that case? You must be wondering, if number 5 is to knock off things that are not that necessary and replace them, and I needed to replace them with something. Why? I cannot just leave that part void. So what have I done? On entertainment, because I no longer have a TV, now I have internet, and for internet I do my research instead of just sitting in front of a box. That's a good thing. On the other part, on not eating a pizza, guess what I did? I learned how to cook. I can eat sima and mchicha, that is a meal made of maize flour and vegetables. If you're in Africa, this is something that you need to remember. We actually would benefit more eating our local food than we would eating hamburgers and pizza. They're more expensive. A pizza in Kenya goes for 1,000 shillings for maybe a family size. And with 1,000 shillings, I'll have made meals for 3 days. So why in the world would I want to have a pizza? I'm not going to be having that in a long time. So yeah, that's the other thing in number 5. As you knock off things, put the right things in areas that are a bit cheaper, that are a bit more affordable, and are healthy. Healthy in mind, healthy in your body, healthy in every way that you can actually think of. And for me, number 5 has worked well when I knock off items, because now I shop cautiously. When I go to the shop, to the supermarket, I buy things that I really need. How do I do that? I've made a budget. I plan my meals for the week so that when I go to the supermarket, I buy exactly what I need in the measure that I need, and I benefit from something that my teacher taught me. It's called the economy of scale. So instead of buying a small packet of maize flour, I buy one that will be enough for a whole week, but it is cheaper in the supermarket than it is in the local shop within the estate. That makes my work far much easier. And because I have a meal plan, I will not be forced to go out and eat what I do not need to eat, which is more expensive. And I don't take coffee outside anymore. Yes, it's helped me cut down on the items in number 3. So what's number 6? We've just talked of number 5. We've knocked off some things and we've replaced them with things that we actually can benefit from. Number 6, make a debt repayment plan. I know you're thinking like, she's nuts. No, I'm not. What I'm saying is, you've already worked from number 1 to 5. It's the high time you actually sit down and ask yourself, how do I start paying back? I have a process that works for me, and I would want to lend it to you for free. Not for free, it's at the cost of you listening. So I have a way of paying 50% of what I owe, not necessarily to the repayment, but I have divided my whatever income that I get into 50% goes to a certain way and 50% remains in a certain area. Now let me discuss the first 50%. 10% of whatever I get, it's my tithe. I'm a Christian and I believe in paying my tithe. Other people give that money to the people who are in need. Perfect. 10% goes to tithe or giving. The next 10% is for personal development. I came across a book that told me a tenth of everything you own or you earn is yours to keep. So my 10% in this case, it becomes mine to keep. It's for my self-development. It's my way of creating more slaves to work for me. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is the 10% for personal development will help me invest in shares or buy a book that I need to read. Anything that will help me grow as a person, not clothes. No, that doesn't come from that 10%. This is for just personal development. And then another 10% goes to my savings account. Why do I need to save? Because I have other expenses that will need to be taken care of, and I believe you do. So we've already talked of 10% 3 times. Guess what? This time at 20%. 20% goes to loan repayment. No matter how much I've gotten from a certain deal, 20% will go to loan repayment. That sounds very interesting, right? So if I earn 1,000 shillings, 20% of it is 200 shillings that will go to loan repayment. Have we calculated all the 50% in the first section? Yes. 10% tithe, 10% personal development, 10% on saving, and 20% on loan repayment. What about the other 50%? It is on utilities, my daily utilities. It can go back to business. It can go back to whatever it is that brought in that income. Normally, that's how it goes for me. You could try and apply that. It's working for me. It worked for me a few years ago. Actually, in 2006, 2007, it worked for me. The 9 months when my business went down, that's the process I used, and I'm sharing with you so that you can use it. You can benefit from it. That is number 6, making the debt payment plan. Number 7, now after you've made the plan, you're the only one who knows. So what's going to happen? You now need to walk to the people you owe. Go and shake their hands and negotiate for a periodic part payment. Why? Because you will not get all this money at a go. Remember, in number 2, we said we put down all means of earning a living that we are able to access. So in number 7, when I say negotiate for a periodic part payment, it means you go to this person whom you owe and tell them, look, I know I'll be able to get 500 shillings every week, so I'm going to be able to pay you 20% of it every week, and that will work towards reducing the debt that I owe you. And you need to be convincing and be committed, because if you're not committed and they sense that you're lying, my friend, you're finished. They will go and preach your word so negatively you won't like this. Remember, we are working towards getting back the relationship. So what's number 8? This is where it hurts. Let me ask you, do you know that just as you owe somebody, somebody else owes you? Yep. Somebody owes me. Actually, I got like 5 people who owe me, and they owe me so much that if they give me back, I'd go and pay back whatever I own and still remaining some money. So what am I doing right now? I'm following up everybody who owes me, and I'm trying to make them to agree to a certain term of paying me in bits. Just like the same thing I've said, part periodic payments, that's the same thing. Periodic part payments, that's the same thing I'm asking them to do. Pay me in bits, commit to giving me every month a certain amount of money, work hard as I am working hard, because just as you owe me, I owe somebody else. And we need to make this circulation of air happen. Circulation of money in the system needs to happen. So everybody needs to pay everybody so that everybody can be able to live better. And then number 9. You remember I talked about 10% that needs to be taken to personal development? Invest it wisely. I actually already hinted you. This 10% of personal development, this is where you actually look for a way to create means of increasing the number of slaves that will work for you. I'm not talking of human slaves. That's horrible. I don't believe in enslaving a fellow human being. But there are many ways of creating a slave. For example, the stock market. In Kenya, it's a good place to be in. We can invest towards in shares of other companies and be able to get dividends, or even be able to sell back those shares at one point and be able to get a higher income than we had anticipated. So this is something. I just sold my Safaricom shares after around 5 years, and I actually got some good money. So I'm actually using that money currently on the same plan that I've given you and paying back. So you see, the personal development amount can be saved, can be invested in a certain area. Invest in an area where you're sure, at least 70% sure that there's something coming in. In Kenya, we can talk of the stock exchange, we can talk of treasury bills and treasury boards, and look for any other way. But most of all, buy a book that you can read and develop yourself. I got a book that I'm reading currently. It's called Making Money is Killing Your Business. A very good book, which I believe you should buy, because whether you're in business or not, this is going to be very helpful for you. So that's number 9. Invest wisely on a way that you don't have to be there to participate. Passive income, shares, bills, bonds, all those. And then number 10, which I know you were waiting for. Number 10 is a very interesting thing. I'm only asking you to go get out of your comfort zone and go and speak out for yourself. This one is a very funny one for me. What do I mean speak out for yourself? Go and tell people what you can do. For example, I love arrowroots. There are some things that are in Kenya, roots that we grow in Kenya that are very tasty to eat. And I like supplying people with arrowroots. What I do is I go to the market and buy them at a very good price, and then go to the offices or call people who are on my Facebook list and my Twitter and ask them if they wanted arrowroots. And I've put my profit on it, and then I go and supply to them. They know that I can supply to them arrowroots. Funny enough, that's not my core business, but I like it because it puts food on my table and it's helping me clear my debts. What can you do? Tell people what you can do. I know people who are very good web developers, and I make use of such good web developers. We do a collaborated job and we share the income, and I'm able to put food on my table, I'm able to pay my debts, and I'm able to progress in life. What else can you do when I say speak out for yourself? Well, ask for payments for services. I work in a volunteer center where I'm actually a volunteer, so I'm not actually working, but I'm volunteering there. And because people have seen me there so many times, they tend to imagine that everything I do is on volunteer basis. I do very good graphic designs, and I do web designs. I use CMSs like WordPress to develop websites. However, I've noticed something. While walking down the street, maybe while going home from my working place, right in the middle of town, I'll meet this person who tells me, oh, by the way, I have a flyer that needs to be done. We're having an event. Could you please do this flyer for me? And I'm like, okay, I will do that. But are you asking me as me, Magdalene, or are you asking me as the Innovation Hub? Which of the two are you asking? And they'll tell me, no, you. I need you to do it. I've seen your work before. Please do it for me. And the next question I ask is, do you have a budget for it? And guess what? I'm told, no, please do it for us. I mean, do it for free. I mean, you're a volunteer. And I'm thinking like, I volunteer over 7 hours of my active day. You wouldn't ask me in the streets to do a flyer for you for free. That won't be happening anytime soon. So actually, I remember this happened to me last week, and I realized that actually I have to learn to say no. Why? Why should I commit more hours into volunteer work to a project which is money making? Why should I do that? I'm already volunteering elsewhere. I need to make a living. I cannot live all my life on volunteer. So this is it. Because I'm doing a dry volunteer where I'm paid nothing and I don't get a stipend, it's very important for someone to pay me for whatever it is they're asking me to do. So what do I do in this case? I tell the person, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to do this for you. I volunteer 7 hours of my day, and actually over 7 hours of my day to do the work there at the hub. Out here, I need to earn a living. Could you actually spare 500 shillings for this work? And when they say no, I simply say, I'm sorry, but now I have to say bye. And I walk away with no guilt. Why? I need to be able to say no. Otherwise, I'll be sinking in debt as they're going up. You need to train people to learn to appreciate your services. Not all your services are negative. Remember, you're the one in debt. You don't know about them. So they need to be able to pay you something. And in this picking out for yourself, the other thing that has worked for me is to turn offers into monetary opportunities. I remember yesterday someone actually called me and they actually laughed because I gave them the same answer I gave them like a month ago. They told me, oh, come meet me for coffee. And I was like, where are you? And they told me, I'm near the park. I'm like, oh, just sit there, I'm coming. I need to hear what you're saying. So I got there and they told me, no, I wanted to buy you a cup of coffee. I told them, how much would the coffee cost? And they told me, like, I was going to take you to Java and buy you coffee there. It's around $2.90. I'm like, okay, if we sit here in the park, you give me the $2.90, I listen to you, I can go home and the 290 shillings, I'll use it for my family. And he laughed because he thought like, she's crazy. No, I'm not. I'm only trying to turn the offer into a monetary opportunity. Why? I don't need the coffee. What I need is that money. So if you really, really meant to buy me coffee, just give me the money. And then I'll listen to you, I'll do what you wanted me to do. But you wouldn't have to take it there to the coffee shop. I know this may not happen for everybody. It may not work out for everybody. It works for me. Why? Because I don't believe in just taking things for my stomach alone. I'm a family person. I need to feed my family. I have debts to pay. I have things to do. So sitting with someone for coffee over a conversation that is not even going to bring me anything, really, let's be serious. So speak out for yourself. Now, having given you all these 10 steps, record your debts, all the debts that you have. Put down all ways that you have for earning an income. Note down the areas in your life that are taking money from you, that is the expenses. Sort them out on necessity basis. Which one do you really need? Which one don't you really need? Knock out the items that you don't need from that list. Supplement, complement, whichever way that you do. Just make sure that you don't do things that you don't really need to do. Number 6, make a debt repayment plan. Yes, you need to do that. 10% on tithe, 10% on personal development, 10% on savings, 20% on loan repayment, and 50% goes to utilities. Return the money into the system. Number 7, negotiate for periodic part payments. Let the person who you owe be able to hear your plan and you show them that you're willing to pay. Number 8, follow up the debts that you already have. Why should someone else continue to owe you when you're dying under some debt here? Let them also come up with a way to pay you back. Number 9, invest wisely. Number 10, speak out for yourself, or I'll say speak or be eaten. That is tidbits of Tasty Tuesdays on debt repayment. For now, it's bye. Hope to see you on Tuesday.